Hi, Curly here. This is a theater review about a show I saw last night called Sabrina Fair. This was produced by the Theater Guild of Webster Groves and directed by my friend Greg Matzker, who was also a former director of mine. In fact, directed me in Oklahoma. So what did I think about this? The stage was small, but I don't think it never felt crowded, which was a very good thing, and I know took some skill to pull off. It was interesting to see Greg's direction in that regard, the manipulation of his action figures and where they would be on stage at all times. There were times where 5, 6, 7 characters were on stage at the same time, and I can honestly say it never felt crowded or clustered. I can always see what was going on, or at least what I needed to see in the scene. So that was good. Doesn't have anything to do with the rest of the play. Why did I go to that first? Some plays you just like watching and knowing, like, huh. You know, you watch it for the technical stuff. But anyway, this play is about Sabrina Fairchild, who was a chauffeur's daughter for this rich family in Long Island in the 50s. She went to Paris, comes back a totally different person. And there's a clash of a little bit clash of rich versus servant girl, even though she's definitely beyond that at this point. Anyway, that sort of topic is one of the major themes of the show. I know I was sitting there going like, oh, the problems of rich people. The first part of the show is kind of when it's introducing the characters and all that with the exposition, you're kind of not very gripped by it, but eventually it establishes who the people are, and then their interactions with each other, and the story moves forward and you're interested. I know I certainly felt like that about halfway through the first act. I was like, okay, I'm getting into it now. Maybe not halfway, maybe the third of the way. But there's this entire family, the matriarch, the patriarch, 2 sons which are grown, the matriarch's friend, who's kind of the voice of reason at times, kind of comic relief at the same time, the chauffeur, the patriarch's chauffeur, which is Sabrina Fairchild's father, and also some smaller characters, but those are the big ones. The protagonist, Sabrina Fairchild, there were times where she was engaging me, and there were times where she was infuriating me. I kind of sensed pretentiousness, maybe? Like she knew she was good. It was, I don't know. Humility goes a long way, and I didn't feel that from her at all. She was definitely milking everything for all it was worth. I can't say she ended up being all that likable. I think it's a tricky part to make likable, but I don't. So she certainly wasn't my favorite part of the play. The sons were all right. They both kind of play for her. I know I was sitting there going like, I'm pretty sure the play wants me to think that she and David are going to end up together, but I think it's going to be her and Linus, and it was. Spoiler, sorry. I think Linus was a more interesting character, but yeah, both were fine. I like the mom. I think one of my favorite performances was the father. By Act 2, every line he sang is just making me lose it. He's just kind of an interesting character. He's not, he's not like the nicest guy in the world, which makes him interesting. He's not the protagonist of the story, so he doesn't have to be the nicest guy in the world. What else? Paul Crudo was in it as the French guy, the French suitor of Sabrina Fairchild that comes at the end of the play. He was quite ridiculous, which is cool. I could have actually been that part, which would have been interesting. I didn't take it because basically it was like, I really need to concentrate on work these few weeks, and I'm really glad I made that decision, because work was an interesting transition, especially that first week, and if I had a show on top of all that, it might not have gone so well, but that's another story. But he was good. Catherine Kruder was also in it as, I honestly don't remember the character's name, but I do have it right here, so let's see. Betty. She kind of runs on stage with this guy during a party, and they go sneak off, and mischief ensues. She ends up getting to slap him on stage, which was cool. She had a nice little part. I enjoyed it. But yeah, that was about it. I think it was pretty good. There were, you know, it wasn't. I think I remember sitting there thinking, like, this is certainly not the voice of my experience in life or anything like that. So it was hard to be totally engaged with these rich people and their problems, but it was an interesting soap opera of relationships and stuff like that. So I think overall it was a pretty good show. It was fun seeing Greg direct something that wasn't a musical, which I guess that would be the only thing I have seen from him would be musicals. So that was cool. Would I see it again? Like the show again, not necessarily this production. I think I kind of seen enough of what it has. Maybe if I knew someone in it that had like the lead or something like that, I'd check it out again. And I guess I would recommend the show to other people. So, long review, but there you go. It was pretty good. See you next time.